There are certain tasks you can't change, but you can become better at them. Hi, I'm Chase Rayburn with Gardner Denver's Pump University, and today we're talking about packing nut installation on Gardner Denver fluid ends and also using our plunger installation tool. First thing you need to know about our packing nuts is that Gardner Denver makes a fine thread packing nut. What this means is that we make the fine thread so that it doesn't involuntarily loosen up during operation or during a stage. Now let's discuss our packing nut installation steps. First thing you need to know, we've already installed our packing. Now, if you're not sure how to install the packing, go to Gardner Denver Pumps TV on YouTube and look up our packing installation video. So now that the packing's installed, we need to make sure the threads are clean. So you can take a wire brush, some rags, anything that's gonna get anything out of those threaded areas. And what you're trying to get out of the threaded areas is you're trying to get out all the sand and grease that's built up in there, because if you don't clean it out, what'll happen is that packing nut will get stuck and it makes your job a lot harder. So take your brush, scrub the threads on the inside of the packing bore and as well as on your packing nut. Pretty simple, just make sure you have as much debris and anything in there out of there, all right? So now that we're clean, what you're gonna wanna do is put some lubrication on the packing nut. For carbon steel fluid ends, you can use motor oil, that works great. But for stainless steel fluid ends, we really recommend using some type of anti-seize. You don't want these stainless steel fluid ends to have the packing nuts get stuck in them, and so we really suggest using anti-seize on those as much as possible. So what you'll do by hand is take the packing nut and you're gonna install it all the way as much as you can by hand. All right, so we've tightened it down by hand. Now what you're gonna do is take your packing bar, and what you're doing right now is you're setting the packing inside the packing board to make sure that it's compressed and nice and tight inside the packing board. And what you wanna do is go arm strength. So what do I mean by that? Take one arm and just pull it and tighten it as much as you can until you can't tighten it anymore. You should use no more than arm strength, okay? That's pretty tight right there. If you ever see guys out in the field doing things where they're using their whole body or taking a sledgehammer or anything like that to tighten this, that's too much. You don't need to do that, and we strongly recommend just using your arm strength. So after that, you need to loosen it up because we still need to put our plunger inside the fluid end. So back it off until it's loose, and then what you're gonna do is you're going to tighten it down one more time by hand, okay? As much as it can go. So let's recap on what we've done so far. We've cleaned the threads on the fluid end and on the packing nut. We lubricated our threads to make sure that we have easier installation. Then we tightened down the packing nut all the way by hand as much as possible. Then we took the packing bar and tightened it down as far as we could go with just one arm strength. After that, we loosened it, and then we tightened it down one more time by hand. That's 6 steps we've already done. It didn't take that long, but these are the necessary steps to make sure this is installed correctly. So once you get to this point, you need to find a permanent marker or a paint marker, whatever you can get, and we're gonna start putting some marks on the fluid end so that we know where we are. So take your permanent marker, make a mark at 12 o'clock on the fluid end, and then at 12 o'clock on the packing nut. So to put our plunger in, what Gardner Denver recommends is take your packing bar and you want to loosen this packing nut 3/4 of a turn or all the way to 3 o'clock. All right, now we're ready to install our plunger. So you'll grab your plunger, then what you're gonna wanna do, definitely wanna put some lubrication on it, oil it up, and then you're gonna take it by hand and install it from the suction side, okay? Now, the plunger can't go anymore because of the rings that are inside the packing board have a very tight inner diameter, and it keeps the plunger from going through by hand. What a lot of people do right now is they take a pry bar and a sledgehammer or a bar and they try to hit it in. What we want you to do is not do that anymore, because what we don't want to have happen is the sharp edges of the plunger that are on the inside right here damage the inside of the packing. So we have a tool that you can use to eliminate any of these problems from happening. Gardner Denver has a plunger installation tool that has 3 pieces. You've got the all thread right here, the nut, there's a plate welded at the bottom, and then you've got the handle as well. Now, take your cover nut that goes on the suction side, and then take your plunger tool before you put the handle on and stick it through the inside of the cover nut, okay? After that, you're gonna take the cover nut, tighten it down, onto the fluid end. Really only have to do about halfway, maybe a third of the way in. You just don't want the cover nut to fall out and land on your feet. Then we'll take our handle. What's gonna happen is my awl thread will start turning, but there's times where this tool can get a little stuck, okay? And if you turn this handle and you turn the cover nut at the same time and it tightens all the way down, it's very difficult to get both the tool and the cover nut out. So a little trick that we say to do, put the handle on the right side of your body where it is right here with me, take your hand and slap it just like that. And what that does is it disengages the plate and the nut right here, so that way you're not only turning the awl thread that's inside the tool. So you'll crank it all the way down. Now, what you'll see here is my plunger lifts up and then it just slides through the packing, nice and easy. Crank it all the way down. And then back it all the way out. All right, now to get the handle off, take it on the left side if it's stuck and do the same thing that we did to loosen the plate and the nut. Slap the left-hand side and then you'll loosen the handle. All right, take the handle off, then remove the cover nut with the tool inside and move on to the next hole. So, that's how to use the plunger installation tool. So now that the plunger is installed, we're ready to tighten down the packing nut. Just remember, before you tighten down the packing nut, it's always good to make sure your plunger is clamped to your pony rod. So grab your bar and remember, we loosened it to 3 o'clock. And so now what we want to do to make this packing nut operational ready is we want to try to get it all the way to 3 o'clock. All right, so that's one full turn that I have difficulty getting to on this fluid end. So if you can't get to 3 o'clock, that's okay. Never go more than arm strength tight. Remember what I said, it has to go arm strength tight so that you don't have these packing nuts get stuck inside the fluid end. So these are the steps on how to install the packing nut for Gardner Denver and how to use our plunger installation tool. But for more information, go to GardnerDenverPumps.com.